Hi there, I'm Gaylene Xanthopoulos, founder and president of the Leadership Edge. For over 30 years, we've had the privilege of accelerating the pace, performance, and cultures of the world's most innovative life science companies. Over the years, so much has changed, from what type of company structures in vogue, what's the hottest therapeutic area, or how to best structure teams, project or matrix-based. Like the whole world, this industry and the people in it are constantly experiencing change. And there's no greater change for most than the changes we're experiencing today. I was working with a CEO recently who, in response to the uncertainties of the pandemic, implemented a 20% salary decrease for all employees earning over $100,000 for a period of 8 weeks. When we spoke, he was a little bit frustrated that some employees were not understanding or supporting this leadership decision. They wanted to debate whether the cutoff should be at $120,000 as they were making $110,000, or why this needed to happen at all. So what did we do? We went back to the basics. We started by better understanding our typical responses to change and some of the dynamics that can shape if and when we accept and even embrace change. I want to share with you an exercise we often do when we're starting discussions about change management. I have everyone in the room find a partner. Once they're paired up, I ask them a strange question. I ask them to look at their partner for 1 full minute and try and take in everything they can about their partner's appearance. They're okay for about the first 10 seconds, and then you can feel the discomfort in the room. No one likes to be studied up close with no pretense of not doing so. When they're done, I ask them to turn with their backs to one another. I tell them to make sure they can't see their partner. Now I ask them to change 10 things about their physical appearance. There are not a lot of rules, only they have to change 10 things, can't see their partners, and they need to remain G-rated. After some struggle, they change 10 things. What would you guess I asked them to do at this point? That's right. I asked them to turn around and see if they can identify the 10 things their partner changed. Again, a little bit of discomfort. Some make it easy to see. They take their shoes off, take their jacket off, while others create a game of Where's Waldo? You're looking to find the socks that shifted feet or the shoelace that skipped a grommet. Once they've finally identified the 10 changes, they begin to change back. I then say, no, we're not done. I want you to turn around and change 10 additional things about your appearance. And it doesn't mean changing them back. I hear grumblings, looks of terror, and usually hear comments like, I didn't come dressed for this. But they turn around and begin to make changes. Then they struggle. Then they get frustrated. Then I start hearing, I can't do it. I remind them the only rules are they need to change 10 more things and their partners can't see them. I then start walking around the room. I put my watch on someone, hand a pen to another, give someone my ring. Then they start figuring out that they can use one another as resources, and we're done in a heartbeat. I have them turn around, find the changes, and we're done with the exercise. What would you guess they do then? They immediately start changing back to how they walked into the room. Even if they're actually more comfortable without shoes, the shoes go back on. The jewelry's returned and there's some good loot. And the belts are on, shirts are buttoned up, choking them at the neck, and they return to their seats. Then we talk about what happened. When asked how they felt during the exercise, they say they felt awkward. Change is uncomfortable. You aren't sure if you're doing it right, you don't want to be embarrassed, and let's face it, it's a little weird to take your shoes off in a business setting with a bunch of strangers. So what do we need to do as leaders to help them through it? We need to give them context, the why and the what. We need to reassure. We need to provide guidance and an example of what to do, like I did with the watch. We need to be empathetic to the fact that they will feel awkward. I then asked whether they added things or took things off. The vast majority took things off. We think first of what we have to give up. With a need to work remotely, we first think about how hard it'll be to not be next to our teammates in the lab. We think about the loss of connection and potential erosion of our relationships. Instead, we need to shift the thinking to what we gain. No commute, time with family, greater efficiencies. How can you pull your team together to talk about what you've gained? Talk about the silver linings and those things you would like to carry forward as you transition into your next normal. During the exercise, we then explore why it was so hard. And the third dynamic comes up. We feel alone. Everyone always starts by trying to do the exercise alone, even though no one ever said they couldn't seek help. Once I start helping others, they catch on, and guess what? Change becomes easy. As leaders, we need to encourage collaboration, coaching partners, team building, things that support us through change so we don't feel overwhelmed and alone. I want you to think for a moment about the client I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, the one whose team wasn't coming along fast enough. What do you think was happening? Here's where dynamics 4 and 5 show up. We can only handle so much change, and we have different levels of readiness for change. Going back to the exercise, the first 10 changes were uncomfortable. The next 10 felt impossible. It's absolutely critical that we plan and prioritize change. Our people are experiencing a level and rate of change that's unprecedented. They're being bombarded with changes at work and home. Remember too, you and your team have had days or weeks to process the changes you're asking of others. This is new to them, and they need to take it in, understand, and accept the changes. During these crazy times, don't suddenly implement a process improvement initiative or new performance management system. They are emotionally buried. When I asked for the next 10 changes to their appearance, people said, had I known we were doing this, I would have accessorized more. The sixth dynamic is we feel we don't have enough resources. They don't fully understand Zoom. Their Wi-Fi keeps glitching. They don't know how to maintain our culture when we're all remote. They don't know how to manage the myriad of emotions both they and their teams are experiencing. As leaders, we need to think through the resources that will be needed. As you return to work, what do people really need? What's on their minds? Are they worried that this too will only be temporary? Do they feel confident they'll be safe? Are they wondering who will watch and teach their children? Take a poll, gain understanding, and provide the appropriate resources. Finally, what happened when I told them the exercise was over? Seventh dynamic, they reverted back. We will revert to our old behaviors even if the new changes are better, more productive, and healthier. Make sure you have accountability partners in place. Make commitments about what things you're carrying forward and carry them forward. Then hold one another accountable for sticking with the changes. Don't change too much. Remember, we can only handle so much change, but make sure it's meaningful and useful change. Thanks to John Cotter, the developer of this model, and to this crazy 20-minute exercise we use to help us to understand how to most effectively lead through these trying times. And thank you for sharing your time with me. Let us know if you'd like to discuss more ideas on managing change, or if you have something else you'd like to explore on your leadership journey. We're here to help.